Welcome to the Deep Dive. You're here because you want to get well informed and, well, do it efficiently.
That's the goal.
And today, we're really focusing in on something crucial, especially now in the digital economy. It's all about discovering and, importantly, validating your niche market.
Absolutely pivotal. The source we're digging into today, this masterless niche market discovery, really hammers this home. The online world, it rewards specialists.
Doesn't it just? Generalists just seem to fade away.
Exactly, they get overlooked. But people who nail down a specific need, they're the ones who get remembered, the ones people seek out. Success really hinges on speaking to that specific group.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive, right? We're pulling the absolute key insights, the actionable stuff from this master list.
Yeah, basically giving you a shortcut to figuring out how to spot those underserved markets, the places where you can build loyalty and trust pretty quickly.
And just to clarify up front, a niche isn't just like a smaller version of a big market.
Not exactly, no. It's more strategic than that. It's about focusing deliberately on a specific group, one with shared traits, maybe a common problem they can't solve, a unique passion, or some aspiration that the mainstream stuff just isn't hitting right.
Got it. Okay, let's get into the core strategies then. The list starts with a pretty counterintuitive idea. Your niche chooses you. And that sounds backwards.
It does a bit, yeah. But the insight here is instead of just chasing whatever seems hot right now, look inwards. Look at your own experiences.
My own? Like what?
Like your past projects, the ones that really clicked, the ones you actually enjoyed, and maybe even the failures, honestly. There are often patterns there.
Patterns?
Yeah, recurring themes that point to your natural strengths, things you're good at, and maybe problems you instinctively understand. It's often about recognizing something that's already there, maybe in hindsight.
Huh. Okay, so it's less pick a niche and more recognize your niche. Ties into the next point, doesn't it? Emotional alignment. Why is that connection so vital?
Oh, it's fundamental. If you pick a niche that genuinely resonates with you, maybe it taps into your values or solves a problem you've personally struggled with, you build empathy almost instantly.
Because you actually get it.
Exactly. Your audience feels that. They sense you understand their world, their pain points on a deeper level. And that connection, that's the fast track to trust.
Okay, makes sense. Now, the list also gives a pretty stark warning. Avoid dominated categories. Seems obvious, maybe? But why is this so critical?
Well, think about it. If there's already a massive, well-known expert or brand totally owning that space...
Yeah, good luck getting hurt.
Right. It's just an incredibly steep uphill battle. You'll struggle for visibility, for credibility. The smarter move, strategically, is to find those areas where there isn't a clear leader yet.
Less noise, more chance for your voice to cut through.
Precisely. More opportunity for you to become that go-to person.
Which leads nicely to something I think many people find hard. Saying no is strategic. How does turning down work actually help define your niche?
It feels counterintuitive, especially when you're starting out, but every time you take on work that's kind of generic or outside your target area...
You dilute your brand.
You dilute your message, exactly. It confuses people about what you really do. Saying no to those misaligned opportunities, even if the money's tempting short-term, actually reinforces what you stand for. It sharpens your focus and builds your authority in the niche you do want to own.
Right, consistency builds that specific reputation. Okay. The list also mentions mining real experience. How do we practically do that? Look back at old projects.
Yeah, absolutely. Take a hard look at your past work. Which clients did you have the best results with? Which projects felt energizing, not draining? What specific problems were you solving again and again?
Looking for those recurring patterns again.
Those patterns are gold. They often point directly to where your sweet spot is the intersection of what you're good at and what clients value. That's often where a viable niche lies.
Okay, so look back, look inward. But the list also says ride emerging market waves. We need to look outward too. What kind of waves are we talking about?
Think about the big shifts happening, the trends gaining serious momentum. Things like, AI is obviously huge right now. Or sustainability, the green economy.
Things getting lots of buzz, funding, search traffic.
Exactly. These are areas with growing interest and, crucially, growing investment and demand. The idea isn't necessarily to tackle the whole wave, but to find a specific niche within that rising tide. You leverage the overall momentum.
Get a toe from the bigger trend. I like that. Now this next one's interesting. Complexity creates moats. Why would targeting something complex be an advantage? Seems harder.
It is harder, and that's precisely the point. Think about industries with like tangled regulations or super specialized knowledge needed or lots of conflicting interests.
Stuff most people would rather avoid.
Exactly. Generalists tend to steer clear of that complexity, which means less competition for those who are willing to dive in and master it. That complexity acts like a protective moat around your niche.
Okay, so the difficulty itself becomes a barrier to entry. Smart. The list also brings up performance and soft skills.
It's not just about knowing your stuff then.
Definitely not. Having the core expertise is table stakes. But things like having the courage to actually put your ideas out there, being visible.
Like speaking, writing articles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And being able to improvise, to think on your feet when challenges unique to that niche pop up. These skills are crucial for actually establishing yourself as a leader, not just another practitioner.
You have to perform the role of the expert in a way.
You do. And tied to that, the source makes a really vital point. Human stories trump tools. What's that getting at? It's a grounding reminder, I think. We can get so caught up in the analytics, the software, the automation.
Tools we're about to talk about.
Right. But ultimately, the core decisions, why you chose this niche, how you connect with your audience's actual human needs and emotions, that's more critical. Don't let the tech obscure the people you're trying to serve. Keep the why front and center. Okay, so to wrap up the strategy part, the list pulls it together with 3 foundational pillars: personality, experience, and market. How do they work together?
Think of them as overlapping circles. Personality is what you genuinely care about, what you're naturally drawn to. Experience is what you've actually done, your skills, your background.
Your track record.
Exactly. And market is the external reality. What's trending? Where's the demand? Is it too crowded? Can you actually make money there?
And the sweet spot is where all 3 intersect.
That's usually where the most sustainable, fulfilling, and profitable niches are found. Where what you love, what you're good at, and what the market needs all line up.
Okay, that's a great framework. Now let's get practical. The master list includes a ton of tools to help with this discovery process. Let's run through some of them. First up, Claude AI. How does that help find niches?
AI like Claude is brilliant for brainstorming, really. You can feed it your general interests, your background, maybe some vague ideas.
And it spits out possibilities.
Yeah, it can generate lists of potential sub-niches you might never have thought of. It can suggest related content ideas, keywords to explore. It's like a tireless research assistant to get you started.
And similar tools like ChatGPT and Gemini are also listed. What do they add?
They're great for digging a bit deeper once you have some initial ideas. You can use them to brainstorm those really specific long-tail keywords, the phrases people search for when they're further along the buying journey.
Higher intent keywords.
Right. And they can help you flesh out detailed customer personas or even outline blog posts or articles tailored to that specific niche audience.
Okay, moving on from general AI. GigaBrain. Sounds specific.
It is. GigaBrain focuses on summarizing discussions from places like Reddit.
Ah, so tapping into actual conversations.
Exactly. Reddit forums are often treasure troves of people discussing their problems, frustrations, what they wish they had. GigaBrain helps you quickly digest those threads to find recurring pain points, which can be solid gold for niche opportunities.
Finding the unmet needs directly from the source. What about EXA.ai? Semantic search.
Yeah, EXA is interesting because it tries to understand the meaning behind your search, not just keywords. So you might put in an idea and it finds related content, products, or research that use different phrasing but cover the same concept.
So it helps you see the broader landscape, even things you didn't know to search for.
Precisely. Good for uncovering adjacent niches or getting a better handle on competitors you hadn't identified.
And Enna. That one maps subreddit relationships. How's that useful?
Enna looks at how different subreddits connect, like which users frequent multiple related communities. This helps you identify those really specific micro-communities.
Tiny, passionate groups.
Exactly. Finding these tight-knit groups can lead you straight to highly targeted, often underserved niches. It shows you where specific clusters of interest are forming.
Okay, so Enna finds the communities, and then subreddit stats helps you check if they're actually active.
You got it. Subreddit stats lets you look at growth trends, engagement levels. Are people actually posting, commenting? Is the community growing or shrinking? It helps validate whether there's real energy and interest around that topic.
You want signs of life, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears to e-commerce. Amazon is listed just browsing products.
Yep. Amazon's a massive indicator of commercial demand. Look at what books and products are selling in a potential area. Crucially, read the reviews.
What are people complaining about? What do they love?
Exactly. The reviews tell you the specific problems people are trying to solve, what they value, and importantly, that they're willing to spend money in this area. Lots of products, lots of passionate reviews. Good sign for a niche.
Solid validation.
Yeah.
Then we have Google Trends and Glimpse, tracking search interest.
Yeah, Google Trends is fundamental. You can see if search volume for your potential niche keywords is going up, down, or staying flat over time. You want to see upward trends, ideally.
And Glimpse just makes that easier.
Glimpse is often a browser add-on that overlays that trend data right onto your Google search results, so you can spot rising interest more easily as you browse.
Nifty. What about the Met Ads library? Looking at Facebook ads.
This is a bit like spying, but totally legitimate. You can see what ads businesses are running on Facebook and Instagram. If lots of advertisers are targeting a specific interest group with specific messaging,
Chances are they've figured out it's profitable.
exactly, they're putting ad money behind it, which strongly suggests they've already done some validation. It's like free market research, seeing where the ad dollars are flowing.
Smart. Okay, Perplexity.ai and Gemini come up again, but for market stats this time.
Right. Beyond just brainstorming, you can use these more advanced AIs to ask for specific market size estimates, growth projections for a sector, or even a competitive analysis. They can pull together data points to give you a more quantitative view.
Getting some hard numbers. Exploding topics, the name says it all.
Pretty much. It's designed specifically to spot trends, keywords, topics, products right as they start taking off, before they hit the mainstream.
So you can get in early.
That's the idea. Catching a niche on the upswing gives you a potential first mover advantage.
Makes sense. For people looking at print on demand or physical products, there's research base and flying research.
Yeah, research base is geared towards finding low competition keywords specifically for things like Amazon merch, t-shirts, that kind of thing. Flying research helps you find products on Amazon that are already selling, well, they have a low bestseller rank, or BSR.
Which means high sales volume.
Right, high volume, but maybe the niche isn't totally saturated with sellers yet. It helps find those trending product opportunities.
Okay, and still on e-commerce, Merch Informer and Nicely.ai, more keyword tools.
Merch Informer gives you search volume and competition data for keywords on Amazon and Google, helping you validate specific product ideas. Nicely.ai is a bit more advanced, offering things like AI-powered keyword clustering, grouping related terms together, and deeper competitive metrics for SEO folks.
Seems like a tool for every angle. Docsbot.ai and PromptDrive.ai are about prompts. How does that help?
They basically offer libraries of pre-written prompts designed for niche research using AI. So instead of figuring out the best way to ask ChatGPT or Claude for sub-niche ideas or competitor analysis,
You just use a template.
exactly, it saves time and helps you leverage the AI tools more effectively for specific research tasks. Speeds things up.
And Gravity Write for content creators.
Gravity Write focuses on generating unique content ideas and angles. So once you have a niche, it can help you find fresh takes, interesting hooks, or perspectives that maybe others haven't covered, helping your content stand out.
Finding your unique voice within the niche. Lastly, a set of more technical tools. Gumloop, N8N, Lindy, Riplet. Automation.
Yeah, these are workflow automation platforms. You could theoretically use them to build little bots or scripts to automatically scrape data from websites, track competitor changes, maybe even draft initial marketing outreach. It's about systematizing parts of your research and ongoing monitoring.
Wow, okay. That is quite the toolkit. So, let's say we've used some of these. We've got a few potential niches lined up. How do we make the final call? The list has some final guidelines for validation. First, confirm demand. What does that look like?
It boils down to evidence. Are people actually searching for terms related to this niche? Check those Google Trends again. Are they talking about it online, Reddit, forums, social media?
Gigabrain, maybe?
Yeah. And critically, are they buying things? Look at Amazon, look for courses, services, software in that space. You need proof that people are actively seeking solutions and willing to open their wallets.
No demand, no business.
Oh.
Okay, next, check competitors. What are we looking for there?
You need to know who's already playing in that sandbox. Who shows up high in search results? Who's running ads? Who seems to be the established voice?
Are you looking for gaps? Weaknesses?
Both. See what they do well, but also where they might be dropping the ball.
Yeah.
Are there segments of the audience they're ignoring? Is their approach outdated? Understanding the competition helps you figure out where you can fit in and offer something different or better.
Makes sense. Then, gauge monetization. How do we figure out if we can actually make money?
Look at how others in the space are monetizing. Are they selling high-ticket coaching, low-cost digital products? Is there a subscription model? You want to see if there's potential beyond just, say, basic ad revenue.
Can you build a real business model here?
Exactly. Are people willing to pay substantial amounts to solve the core problem this niche addresses? Is there potential for recurring revenue? Those are signs of strong monetization potential.
And the last one, maybe the most important, assess fit.
Yep, brings us right back to that emotional alignment. You got to be honest with yourself. Are you genuinely interested in this topic? Enough to talk about it, write about it, work in it day after day.
Do you actually care?
Do you care? Do you understand the audience's problems on a gut level? And can you bring something unique of your perspective, your experience, your voice? If the passion isn't there, it's going to be a long, hard slog, even if the market looks good on paper.
So it's that mix of hard data and gut feeling, really.
It absolutely is. Market analysis plus honest self-reflection.
Okay, pulling this all together, it seems incredibly clear that nailing your niche is just foundational. Especially as the source notes for things like affiliate marketing or starting any new venture online.
Oh, completely. It's not optional, really. It's the groundwork. Everything else you build, your content, your marketing, your products, rests on that foundation. Get it wrong, and the whole structure is shaky.
And the source material we've been drawing from actually mentions a specific resource for going even deeper, a Kindle book. Right?
Yeah, niche marketing. The Roadmap to Success with AI-Powered Market Discovery by David G. Dand. It seems to dive into using these AI tools specifically for this process.
And the big takeaway from that seems to be doing this work up front saves you pain later.
Tons of pain. Potentially months, even years of wasted effort barking up the wrong tree. Using these strategies, maybe leveraging AI like the book suggests, helps you build on solid ground from day one.
Because the downside of picking the wrong niche is pretty stark, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The source talks about no clicks, no conversions.
Yeah, just crickets. Pouring effort into content nobody reads, promoting offers nobody buys. It's incredibly demoralizing and drains your resources. Total stagnation.
But the flip side, when you find that right niche,
that's where the magic happens. You connect with an audience that's actively looking for what you offer. They resonate with your message. Things start to flow. Growth feels, well, maybe not effortless, but certainly more natural and sustainable. You find that sweet spot.
Find your people, essentially.
Find your people, solve their problem, build that trust.
So the final message is pretty clear.
Yeah.
Take this seriously. Be intentional. Do the research. Find that fit.
Absolutely. As the source wraps up, one good niche, just one, can totally change your business.
And one great one.
Well, that could genuinely change your life.
Powerful thought to end on. So the advice is, go deep on this. Stay sharp with your analysis, find that unique spot, and keep building.